Hi Year 6 and welcome to today's computing lesson. We've got an exciting lesson planned today and I'm going to teach you a few tricks on Microsoft Word on how to create your very own word search. Now, you might have done these before, but you probably did them by hand. And of course you can do them by hand, but you can also do them on the computer. It might save you a bit of time. So on Microsoft Word, it's a software that you would have almost definitely used before and will definitely use in future when you go to secondary school, maybe at university, and maybe later in life when you have a job. So there's a lot of things you can learn on Microsoft Word. It's more than just typing. There's pictures and graphs and all sorts of things that you can do on it. First thing that you need to do is open up a Word document. So I already had one open, so I just pressed Control N, which is a cheap shortcut of doing it. I've got a different keyboard here to show you. So Control is down here, and you hold that down and press N, Control N, and that brings up a new document if you already have Word open. So next step is I'm going to show you quite a few features on this word search. I'm going to show you how to create a border, make it look really professional. Going to show you how to insert text boxes and pictures and words. And I'm going to show you how to add a grid like this with letters. As I go through, I'm going to be teaching you little shortcuts and ways of doing things. With Microsoft Word, there's often more than one way of doing things. And I'm going to show you different ways. So step one is you open up your Microsoft Word, and I would like to show you how to, first of all, create a border. I would click on Design on the top ribbon here, and then I would go right to the end and I'd click on Page Borders. Now, I'm showing you this. It might be helpful if you can to do it as you go along, but with learning things on Microsoft Word, the best way is just to kind of experiment yourself, do trial and error. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. You don't have to do everything that I'm doing here for this word search. So just give it a go and see how it works for you. Of course, you might have a slightly different Microsoft Word or a different edition, so it might be different for you, but here are just some helpful tips. So I clicked on Page Border, and it comes up with a few different options here. You can pick what border you'd like. You can have a thick box, a thin box, you can have a shadow, or you can have a dotted line. I'm going to go for the 3D one. So it looks like that. Looking very professional already. Now, next thing is I would like to add the title of my word search. This one is a healthy little word search. It's got health words to do with health. So vitamins, sleep, safety, nutrition. You can pick whatever you want. You can do animals, names of your friends, names of your family. You can do countries, you can do singers, movies, whatever you want. I'm going to stick with the healthy word search. So I'm going to type in those words. Healthy word search. For me, that writing's a bit small, doesn't look very interesting, so I'm going to give it a new size and font. How do I do that? I highlight the words either by clicking here, holding it down and dragging my mouse over it, or since they're the only words there, I could press Control A, which highlights everything. So the Control button is in the bottom left. Oh, it's not really coming up with my background. Bottom left of your keyboard should be around there. And then I press A at the same time. Then I click Home and I'm going to choose a different font. These are the fonts. I click the arrow pointing down, which gives me a drop-down menu of all the different fonts. I'm going to go for Georgia, and I'm going to increase the size by clicking on the little arrow pointing down, drop down menu next to the number 11. I'm going to go big, going to go font 23. The other thing I'd like to do is change the color, and I'm going to change it to green by clicking on the arrow pointing down next to the big A. And I'm going to go green because that's a healthy color. Now that I've got my title, I would like to add a grid to put my words into. So I pressed enter twice to go down. How do I enter the grid? I think the best way is to enter a table. So I press insert on the top bar at the top. Click on table. Now, table lets me insert tables up to this amount, but for me, I actually want more than that. So I'm instead going to click on insert table, and it asks me how many columns and how many rows I want. Columns are vertical, like this, going down, and rows are horizontal, like this. I'm going to click 10 columns. I can either click on the arrow or I can insert the number on my keyboard. And I would like maybe 15 rows because I want it to go, because of the shape of the page, I'd like it to go down further. So let's see what that looks like. I can always edit it after. I can take some away, I can add some. And so that looks good to me. One thing I would like to do is actually change the shape of this grid a bit, and I can do that by clicking on the bottom right square here, clicking on it and dragging it. I can move it, and I would like to move it so that each cell is almost a perfect square. Now that looks almost perfect to me. Now that looks good to me. So what do I do next? I'm going to start entering my words because that's the whole point of this. So I'm going to put in, I'm going to put in sleep here. And as you see, I'm clicking in each cell to enter the letter. It's taking me quite a long time. There's a faster way of doing this. Instead of clicking in each cell and typing the letter, what you can do is click on the first one and then press the tab button, which is this. I chose the wrong background, which is this button here, somewhere here on your keyboard. It says tab and it has two arrows pointing in opposite directions. When you press that button, as you can see on the screen, it hops automatically to the next square. Very helpful, it saves time. So I'm in the first one, I press tab, it skips to the next one, can enter my letter, skip to the next one by pressing tab, put in my letter. One thing I've noticed about this is that I would actually like capital letters for my word search. Now, some of you may already know this button, but if I wanted to have all my letters capitalized without pressing shift every time, I can press caps lock. Caps lock, as the name suggests, locks my keyboard into capitals. I can turn it off, on and off anytime, but since I want to write lots of capitals for now, I am going to press caps lock. So caps lock's pressed. S, I press S without holding down shift, pressing tab to skip to the next box, press L, tab, E, tab, P. So that's all very good. Then I'm going to add in vitamin here and so on. Now, one more thing I've noticed about all of this is that these letters are actually not perfectly in the center of their box. Now, there's a way of fixing this. So the way I would do this is I would highlight all of these letters, and I can either do that by clicking down here and dragging my mouse over all the letters, or even faster, I can just click on this cross square thing at the top left corner of the grid, and that automatically highlights everything. Once it's been highlighted, I can justify, I can align all of the letters in my squares to the middle by pressing this button, which is there, and it's also up here. So I'm going to click it, and suddenly all of the letters are in the middle of the square, which is perfect. While it's highlighted, or if I wanted to highlight them again, I could also change the color by clicking on the A with the line underneath it and the arrow pointing down. I can make it red, or I can make it whichever color I want. Now, if I wanted to get rid of the lines in the grid like it is in this word search, I can do that. I can do that by right-clicking onto, oh, wait. I could do that by right-clicking and finding this box here, which shows me all of the borders. Now it's asking me, do I want a top border, all borders? I want no borders. So I would probably only do that at the end once I've entered all the other letters that don't make up the words that are being searched for. So I would do that once I've entered all of the other letters, but I've just shown you how you would do it if you wanted to. So obviously after you've entered your search words, you then enter all of these other random words to hide them. Right, showing you that, I would like to add a picture to make it look a bit interesting, because at the moment it looks a bit boring. So I would get a picture from Google, from the internet, and I have prepared one here because I wanted a little tree picture. I like the look of this one. I would click on it, and then I would right click, copy image, then I would go back to my Word document, click into it so that the cursor flashes, and then I would right click, paste, or I would press Control P, which is a shortcut for pasting something. There's the control button on the bottom right of my keyboard, and P is here. So Control P pastes the, Control V, my apologies, I've just told you how to print something. Control P is print, Control V is paste. So Control C is copy, Control V is paste. I've confused myself now, and Control P is print. So I've copied the tree image there, and now it's a bit too big, so I'm going to make it smaller by clicking on it, dragging the corners down, and suddenly it's small and nicely fits under my word search. Finally, I would like to add the words that are actually being searched for. The easiest way to do that, you could just type them, but I often find it easiest to put words that are floating about in unusual pages on the page into text boxes. So I would press Insert on the top right, top left. Then I would press Text Box. It's just a simple text box, and there it appears. I would delete the words that are in there. I would then click on the tree. If I wanted to paste the tree in there, I would Control C and Control V it. Let's try that. So Control C, delete it, click into the text box, Control V to paste it, and there it is. And now I can move my tree about easily. Let's add in another text box. So Insert, text box, simple text box, and there it appears. Delete the words inside it, and now I can type up the words that are being searched for. So can we remember what they were? Sleep and vitamin. Obviously you would have more than 2 words in your word search, but I'm just showing this to you for now. Now remember, They don't look very nice in that font, do they? So how would I change them? I could highlight them, and then I could press on the drop-down menu for fonts, change it to my Georgia font, increase the size, font 14 by pressing the little arrow next to the number, and I could change the color by pressing the little A with the line underneath it. Let's make it purple for Art Franklin. Now, the last thing that I would like to do, last two things I think that I'd like to do, is get rid of the lines around these text boxes because they look a bit clunky. So I would click on it, click on the text box, right click, and then click on outline, and then click on no outline. Of course, if you wanted an outline, you could keep it. It's up to you. You can be creative. You can pick and choose which of these things you want to do. So let's do that again with the tree, the text box around the tree. Right click, outline, no outline. Last thing that I'm going to show you is the title. At Art Franklin, we like underlining our titles, and we can do that in Microsoft Word as well. How would I do that? I would highlight the 3 words by clicking on it, clicking to the right and dragging my mouse across it. Then you could either click on the underline button here, or you could do the shortcut on the keyboard, which is pressing Control U. Control, remember, is on the bottom, usually on the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard. And there you go, there's your word search. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of your word searches on Seesaw. I hope you've learned something about computing. As I said, it's not so much about watching me do it, although it's helpful maybe at the beginning. It's more just about trying it out yourself on Microsoft Word. Have a good day.